Hey, what's up guys, it's Marf and welcome back to another Asphalt 9 video. Today I wanted to talk about the pool system in multiplayer that was recently introduced with the Bring the Heat season, but on August 4th those changes were reverted, so now if you play multiplayer just like it always was with the World Series, and basically how it works now is each class is associated with each league. So for example, Legend League is associated with S-Class, and the way the pool system worked was there was a certain number of cars that were associated with different leagues, so it wasn't tied to any one class. For example, you could be using like the Huracan, but you could only do it if you were at Legend League. Now, when I first heard about this system during the dev chat, I was really excited because I thought it would give us a great opportunity to change the way we play multiplayer and really experience something different when it comes to Asphalt 9 multiplayer. And I was right. I had a really fun time during this short little season. I loved playing with like the GTR Nismo, for example. That was like a king of its class, which was really funny to see, but it was really interesting because I've never really used that car in multiplayer before because it's at the very low end of A class, so it's just not very good. So I really enjoyed like using all of these different cars that are now just a lot more powerful for their class, or I guess for their league, I guess. And yes, there were some problems which we'll talk about later, but overall, I had a very fun time playing this multiplayer season. It really changed the way that I viewed balance in this game. I think that it really showed that a lot of the cars in some classes really should be shifted around, and I think they should update the game so that some cars are moved around or maybe some ranks are changed, because in this pool system, it really showed me that some of these cars are a bit unbalanced where they are, and also a lot of these cars are just never being used. And I think this multiplayer series gave us a great opportunity to use a lot of cars that we never have before. Of course, in previous leagues or now, you could use them for fun or whatever, but you just wouldn't really do very well. But like I said, using like the GTR Nismo as a king of its class or league was really fun and interesting because everyone else was using it too. And not only was it fun to play with, you also didn't really have to worry too much about getting completely overpowered. Of course, there were some situations that were overpowered cars, like I'm going to mention in a bit, but overall, if like I have the GTR, which is a pretty easy car to get, I never really had to worry about other like super high-end A-class cars within that league. So not only was it really fun because it changed the way that we used our cars and everyone was playing with different cars, but it also meant that I didn't really worry too much about getting completely overpowered by other cars in the same class. Now let's talk about the problems, because there were some problems and you did have to worry about sometimes getting overpowered by different cars. Now the biggest problem in my opinion was league mixing. Now league mixing has always been a problem in my opinion, but I think during this season or series it was exacerbated a lot because, for example, the Huracan and the Corvette were at higher leagues, so if you're at lower leagues and you get a Corvette or Huracan in your game, you're just kind of screwed because the pool system obviously didn't allow you to use very powerful cars in certain leagues. So if you were up against something in a higher league, it was drastically better than your car. So even though I like the distinction between tiers, like it was very obvious what was a gold car or a platinum car, if you got into a game with league mixing, you were just going to lose that game. Again, this is something that's been a problem in general multiplayer, but it was a lot worse during this season because of the way the differences of the pools worked and the balance of the cars in those pools. The other thing is just specific cars were very overpowered in certain leagues. Now, for example, in Bronze League, you can play with the Aston Martin DB11, which for the rank made sense, but the actual performance of the car was so much better than anything else in Bronze League that it just didn't make sense to use any other car. And of course, that's on a case-by-case basis. I'm not saying that all of a sudden these cars were overpowered. Like, they didn't change their rank or anything like that, and the performance of the car has always been the same. It's just that the way they were placed in the pools and in the leagues, it made them overpowered compared to other cars. This is something that if Game Off were to try this again, if they iron out which cars are placed in what leagues, it would not really be a problem in my opinion, but this is just something that I wanted to note. And again, maybe if they did some play tests or something like this, or if they did a survey, I think that would be a good idea. But it makes sense that there would be these problems because we've never really played with these cars in different leagues before because it never made sense to, or you couldn't do it. Like the Aston Martin DB11 is a B-class car. You wouldn't be able to play with it normally until you reached Gold League. So all of a sudden, now you're surrounded with D and C class cars playing in a DB11. It makes sense that it would be overpowered. So I'm not saying that the pool system is a bad idea because, like I said, I think it's a really good idea, but obviously you have to now look at the cars in a different way. You can't just go off of the number rank anymore. You have to really just look at how the players play with the cars and the in-game performance individually. But in my opinion, if Game Off got rid of league mixing and the cars were more carefully selected, and they made it clear that the pools would change from series to series. I think this pool system would be absolutely amazing. Like I said, I had a lot of fun playing Asphalt 9 multiplayer with this system. I think it really changed the way that I played the game. It changed the cars that I played with, and it made some cars really fun to play with because you just never played with them before against cars of its own rank. You were always getting outclassed and outmatched if you played with cars like the Ferrari J50 or something like that. But now in these leagues with these pools, it made sense and it was actually fun because you know you weren't just going to get destroyed. Again, unless you got league mixed. So yeah, overall, I really enjoyed this system. I hope they bring it back sometime. I hope they try it again because I think a lot of players were initially overreacting to the fact that they didn't have their Yesco or their Venom F5. If Gameloft made it clear that the pools would change and you could eventually use the cars that you worked so hard to unlock, I think it would be a good system and players would understand why this change would happen. But of course, I would like to hear what you think. Do you like this system? Do you not like this system? Why or why not? Please let me know in the comments. I think this would be a great discussion to have because like I said, I think this really changes the way we play multiplayer, and I think personally it makes it a lot more fun. So anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed and I will see you guys later.